angry, pissed off, negative, unresourceful state, you can't do anything well. You've had one of those days, for instance, where everything you're doing, you're like, I can't believe I said that, I can't believe I did it, I'm such a fool, right? You had that day? We've all had that day. Next day, similar situation, you're like, wow, that was me, I did a really great job, right? You were perfect. So one day you're brilliant, next day, same situation, you're brutal. That's not talent, that's not ability, that's the state that you're in. So the key to success is not just to have your vision, but to be able to manage the way you feel in the moment.
Springtime has arrived. The long night is past and opportunity is here. Spring always comes. Just hang in there when the night is long. Hang in there when it's dark. Hang in there when you can't figure it out. And your spring will surely come.
I believe anything is possible. I live in the world of possibility. And I also believe that we can accomplish anything with our two hands and just putting in the work with our two hands.
Take advantage of the spring. Just because spring comes is no sign you're going to look good in the harvest. You must do something with it. You must seize that moment. It is true that the dark time doesn't last forever, but here's what you've got to also understand. Spring doesn't last forever. In space language, we call it a window of opportunity. When they get ready to blast off, the rocket's headed for the moon, whatever, there's a certain period of time, that's the time you've got to go. If you don't go then, you've got to wait for another whole cycle to turn.
The number one thing that keeps people from succeeding. It's the number one thing that keeps people where they are. It's the number one thing that keeps people broke, is that they end up going through their life, accepting what they're dealt, doing what they're told, and they end up at 50, 60 years old wondering what the f happened. Well, I'm going to tell you what happened. You talked yourself out of going after what you were supposed to go after. You talked yourself out of your purpose. You talked yourself out of the idea that success is cause and effect, not magic luck or magic fairy dust. That's what happened, and that's the number one thing that keeps people from succeeding. It's the what-if story that they tell themselves over and over and over again as to why they can't move forward and other people can't. Why, if they do the work, it still isn't going to work out. Success is easy, guys. It's easy. It's making a plan and executing the plan every day. It's that easy. It's that easy.
I'm asking you to take advantage of it. Tell the story. Pass out the literature. Make the calls. Conduct the meetings. See the people. Grab and seize this opportunity like you've never seized anything in your life before to make something remarkable of it. Take advantage. Don't be lazy, especially in the spring. Don't be distracted, especially in the spring.
And right now where we are, it's more challenging than ever before. But unfortunately, we don't get an education on what is it we need to do to develop a level of self-awareness and inner strength and mental resolve. So when things happen in life, and they're going to happen, we can deal with it. We need to be reminded every day. When you've been marginalized, when you've been dismissed, when your sense of self has been destroyed, when systems have been put together to deny you access for years, you've been hitting your head up against the wall again and again and again and again. After a while, you become conditioned. And you believe where you are, you believe that that's it. You were born into that conversation, that becomes your reality. In order to get out of that and create a new reality for yourself, you gotta be hungry. That's why I wrote the book, You Gotta Be Hungry. I had this mindset, I know I'm different. Because I never, ever accepted that I was supposed to be poor. Even though I was living in poverty. We were poor, but I didn't know it. But I saw when Mama took me on Miami Beach, I saw how those people were living over there. And when we came across the Venetian Causeway and how we lived in Overtown and Liberty City, I said, That's where I want to live. That's the kind of life that's appealing to me. I was not willing to settle in my environment. There are a lot of people that have settled. There are a lot of people who've never been anywhere. Do you know only 15% of Americans travel? Only 15% ever been anywhere. I wanted to travel around the world. I created a life. See, you want to create a life. I want you to write this down. Create the life that you desire. Why? What are you talking about? We have the ability to do that. We've been indoctrinated, not educated. Educational curriculums are created by manufacturers. People have been produced, mass-produced to work in factories. Hey, you have a superpower. You know what it is? It's you. Regardless of what you're going through right now, if you're going through a foreclosure, if you lost your job, you're going to be evicted, regardless of all of that, you are the power. You are the money. Anything that you've lost, you can get it all back. And so you can't be casual about this. You are the power. You got the power in you to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. I've seen people who just would not be denied. Byron Allen, that name probably don't mean much to you, but I remember when he first started out, he was trying to get a night show on television. Now this guy's a billionaire. Byron Allen, check him out. I saw him. He just refused to be denied. As you look at yourself, look at your life, don't look at your situation. You look at where you're going. You look at yourself. Do some hard searching in yourself and say to yourself, this is not me. And decide to take your life in another direction. Don't change your decision that you can have a better life. No, don't change that decision because some obstacles have been set in your path, because you've had some failures and some disappointments and some setbacks. No. And right now, where we are right now, this is a time that challenges you. You can't be casual now. We're being shaken up for a reason. God is still in the midst of all of this. All this stuff that's going on right now, all hands on deck, and is serving us notice. If you're going to make it through this time where you are right now, you got to step it up. You got to dig within yourself. You've got to work on yourself. You've got to develop yourself. The price of freedom is constant vigilance. What do you mean by that? Just because you achieve a level of freedom,
we must also deal with the enemies within ourselves. Yes, we've got enemies on the outside. Some of the enemies are a lot closer than that. They are within. And I want to give you a list of some of the things to watch out for when you get back home, called enemies within yourself. Here's the first one: indifference. Whatever you do, practice not being casual. You've got to shake off sometimes the lethargy that would say, oh, well, maybe it's not going to work for me, or I'll just go along and see what happens. I'm asking you, whatever you do, the intensity that you've gathered up here during this extravaganza, I want you to take this same intensity home with you. Don't be casual. Casualness creates casualties. Go home with a renewed intensity. Don't let indifference take over. Here's the next one: indecision. Someone's mentioned it a couple of times on this stage. They've had to deal with it. You've got to deal with it. Indecision is called the thief of opportunity. Make decisions even if it's a wrong decision. Do the very best you can, make a decision and go with it. If it doesn't work out because it was a wrong decision, I'm telling you, that gives you experience now to make a better decision. Here's the next one: doubt. We've all got to deal with the enemy of doubt. Cynicism has a unique way of crowding in on all of us. Being cynical about the government, being cynical about banks and money, being cynical about society, being cynical about the past, cynical about the future. I'm asking you, don't let that disease grab you by the throat. Yes, it's easy to doubt that it can happen. It's easy to doubt. We've all got fears that want to crowd in. And here's one of the worst ones of all, and that is to doubt yourself. Don't doubt your own ability. Don't doubt your own strength. If I can make it, you can make it. Next is worry. I mean, you know, you got to worry some. But here's the clue. Don't let it conquer you. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning and your daughter's not home, yes, you've got to worry. If you're in New York City and step off the curb and one of those yellow taxis is coming, yes, you better worry. But mark this down. Let worry alarm you, but don't let it conquer you. We all need to be concerned. We all need to be concerned. If there's enemies around, we need to be concerned. If it isn't going well, yes, we need to be concerned. But I'm asking you to let it concern, let it touch you, let it alarm you, but don't let it conquer you. Take all of the worries you've got and try to drive them into the smallest corner you can possibly find. If you don't, worry will be like a mad dog loose in the house. It'll have you in the corner. So whatever your enemies are here, drive them into a small corner. Here's the next one. Over caution. Hey, in the spring, if you're too cautious, you never will plant the seed. If you're too cautious, you won't take the chance. If you're too cautious, you won't step out front. If you're so cautious, you probably never would have done your first meeting. Make this note. You got to take a chance. Drive your tendency to be too cautious. Drive it into a small corner. Yes, you can't be gullible. No, you can't go for everything. Yes, you've got to be careful. Yes, but don't be so cautious that it paralyzes you. Don't be so cautious that it restricts your chance to do better. See if you can't conquer that. Here's the next one. Pessimism. Yes, there's the dark side. Yes, there's the problem side. Yes, there's the difficult side. But I'm telling you, it's not the only side. Yes, the glass is half empty, but it's also half full. Yes, there's the dark side, but there's the light side. Yes, the night comes, but so does the day. I'm telling you, don't be afraid of both sides, opportunity and difficulty, chance and danger. Learn how to handle it all. Now here's the last one. When you get back home, you've got to deal with it. I have to deal with it. We all have to deal with it. And that's complaining. Yes, there's room for a legitimate complaint. Yes, there's room for a legitimate business complaint. Yes, there's room for a legitimate complaint with the 13th floor. Yes, there's room for a legitimate complaint with the warehouse. Yes, there's room for a legitimate complaint once in a while with each other. But here's what I'm asking you. Don't let complaining master your life. If you become a chronic complainer, I'm telling you, nobody wants to be around you. Chronic complainer. I wouldn't want you for a business partner. Don't let complaining conquer your life. See if you can't drive it into a small corner. That's the season of summer. Nourish your values like a mother and fight your enemies like a father. Even if you have to fight the enemies that are within yourself. Make this note. Don't become a victim of yourself. It's possible to become a victim of tragedy. It's possible to become a victim of gossip. It's possible to become a victim of the things that happen out there, but here's the most important thing. Don't become a victim of yourself. Forget the thief in the alley that's after your purse. What about the thief in your mind that's after your promise? The thief in your mind that says you're too short. The thief in your mind that says you're too tall. The thief in your mind that says, well, yes, it'll happen to people out in California, but it can't happen way over here on this side of the world. I'm asking you to conquer that thief even though you find him in your own consciousness. I want to reassure you that you can do it. I want you to reassure you that you can make the decisions. I want to reassure you that no matter what the night, no matter what the storm, no matter what the difficulty, there isn't anybody here that can't figure it out, find some things to do, step at a time. Yes, Minute at a time, yes. Day at a time, yes. Week at a time, yes. But there isn't anything you can't walk away from. There isn't any challenge you can't overcome. I want you to have that kind of belief in yourself.